welcome back to the episode 2 of the Analysts Podcast. Again, me and my Veggie will be going over some games for you guys today. I'll be covering APEKS versus HSDIRR, and Veggie will be covering FOKUS versus Les Petit Boufons. Both teams are incredible in that matchup, and my matchup, APEKS, as expected, just dominated, so we're going to go over some key points for both games. So first of all, Veggie, FOKUS versus... Yeah, how are you doing? How are you feeling today?
I'm really good, mate. I've really enjoyed watching through this Les Petit Boufons versus FOKUS game. It's a matchup, like you said, of really strong teams in this competition, and I think they kind of displayed that from what we've seen. We aren't going to be going through all three maps that they played. I'm going to be focusing on Peril, but I mean, life's good when you get to watch these two teams. How are you, my friend? Are you well?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. Really energized. Woke up this morning with a bit of a headache, but took some paracetamol, feeling absolutely fine. Got a lovely cup of tea, so yeah, feeling very good and excited to get in some of these great games that we've got. The APEKS HSDR game was on. I'm covering the map of Icebox because APEKS and HSDR had both the same compositions, and it was an absolutely storm by APEKS. Like, they won 13-4 overall. Their first half was 11-1. Which it's absolutely dominant display for them. You can't expect it from ex-pro players. Well, I say ex-pro. They're still doing something pro, but ex-tier 1 players. Mystic, Magnum, and Enzo, of course. But yeah, first of all, I think we're going to be covering FOKUS versus Les Petit Boufons, so eventually get straight into it.
Yeah, so coming into this matchup, we recently seen... So I should mention what map we're talking about. We're going to be talking about Peril, which was the first map of the 3 that they played. And I wanted to pick up on Peril just because it's one of those new maps that we've spoke about so many times of how interesting it is coming into kind of the meta where teams how we're going to play it. We've not seen teams play it overly too much, especially finding like exactly how that's what to play. So that's the reason I chose this game. But if we come into this, recently we did see Les Petit Boufons take on E-Masters in the Beacon 2 Open Split. The Beacon Open Split 2 final. They played the same composition in that game as they did here, which I thought was interesting. And FOKUS kind of had a good run with this map in this competition, recently beating HSDIRR last week, but did get beat by APEKS. But as you've just touched upon, APEKS are an incredible side in this sort of competition that we're going to be talking over, and that's kind of why. If you go a little bit more historic on this, they did get beat 4-3 by Vitality in the Red Bull home ground, but it's Vitality, so kind of a higher step up, right? With Vitality are a very good outfit, and we covered that in last week's episode, so if you haven't watched that, go back and check that, because we do talk about those teams. However, there is a positive to focus on this map. They did beat Cloud9 in the same Red Bull home ground competition, and have tied a cider. So... strong, you would have to say, because Cloud9 are a good team, guy. You know,
Cloud9 are top 2 in NA, I believe. Ranked number 2, just after 100 Thieves. So beating Cloud9 is a massive, massive achievement, especially for. I mean, these teams are competing to get into challenges, so to beat them is an incredible feat. I mean, both teams you're covering FOKUS. I mean, Yugi was an ex-Astralis player on the CS:GO, I believe. And you've got Eccles on the Petit Buffon, who was obviously the IGL of 100 Thieves. The original Fish 123 roster, if I'm not mistaken. I think back in the day where there was literally no organizations, it was just random teams competing. It was like Fish 123 who were dominant, who were like Ardis, Eccles. I think it was basically just UK players, which is incredible to see, and they dominated. I think Link was part of them, so incredible roster from that part. But yeah, they obviously just restacked teams, and you got some incredible players. I mean, Yugi's top 3 jet in the whole league so far. I believe people were saying in the game last night, FOKUS versus off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think it was Bonk. Was it FOKUS versus Bonk off the top of my head?
I believe it might have been that. They were both teams of them were definitely feeling last night. Let me load that up and double check.
This will be Tuesday the 7th, just in people wondering on podcast.
Yes.
We were watching last night, but we're not going to cover those games, unfortunately. They were incredible.
It was FOKUS versus Vamonos and Les Petit Boufons versus Human Trapwires last night. Bonk played APEKS the night before, and HSDIRR played HSDIRR the night before that as well.
Yeah, and I believe, anyway. FOKUS and Les Petit Boufons both into playoffs now, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, I believe, FOKUS and Les Petit Boufons both into playoffs now, I believe.
I believe so as well.
Yeah,
Yes, both qualified through. So they're pretty much this game. I think decides who goes through, and they're pretty much playing the rest of the tournament to decide on which part of that bracket of the playoffs that they kind of fall into, which is going to become crucial because you kind of want to avoid APEKS for as long as possible.
Yeah.
if you're going into this. But yeah, so that's the kind of background between Peril and both of these teams. So looking just purely at the stats at the end of the game, you've got Vong who's playing on Fade and Luzza on Jet. Both going absolutely insane here, both plus 20 kills and looking really strong for Les Petit Boufons. Whereas Yugi, as you just mentioned, top tier Jet, grabs 20 kills for FOKUS and really does some solid work. But I wanted to highlight your boy Lewis, because as some player, by the way, your boy Lewis is a good solo player. I just wanted to put that. I don't have any clips in here to talk about that, but just as a start, your boy Lewis is a baller. But FOKUS do start the matchup on defense, and once again, your boy Lewis starts strong, keeps the first couple rounds as Les Petit Boufons fail to secure any sort of plant situations from taking B long. So they start early pressure trying to take B long on Peril, which just kind of is that long sort of angle that we all know that they just push down. They can get onto site quite easily, but they just don't sort of have the capabilities straight off the bat to secure that. However, this sort of puts them into the buy round, which they start playing in more of a default fashion, which is just they typically go at least 1A, 2 on to mid, and 1 over B, and then the other one kind of floats with Spike kind of left down behind until they get the space down. And this kind of starts working from them as they do get the space down mid. They take the A site, and then it puts Les Petit Boufons in a 4 versus 2 after plant. However, then this follows it back up again because Lime and Yugi have absolutely no right to win this situation that they do, and they win a 4 versus 2 and put themselves 3-0 up. Now, I probably should have got a clip for that, but I didn't. So it is what it is.
What are the team compositions at the moment?
So yeah, team compositions, that is a good question. So on the side of Les Petit Boufons, you have Cray playing as Astra, Russ playing as Kale, Link playing as Sage, Vong as Fade, and 2 seconds. It is Luzza on Jet. For FOKUS, you have Yugi on Jet, Purple on Kale, Lime on Killjoy, your boy Lewis on Sova, and Astra for Kibset. Now, the question that I wanted to ask you that kind of leads into this next point that I'm going into here is, who's your preferred sort of sentinel on Peril, right? Because we've got Sage holding down for Les Petit Boufons, but then on FOKUS's side, they have a nice little Killjoy. Now, I'm a fan of Cypher, but the Killjoy kind of makes this interesting in how they play it. But if you had to pick your sentinel, who do you think you're going for?
Well, we discussed this last episode, so if you, again, check that out. I'm here for Cypher. Magnum played that really, really well. APEKS versus Hukars, we covered a bit of that last episode right at the end. They played that really well. They literally just controlled mid, allowed their teammates to, on the defensive side, to basically just focus on sites and the main pushes on sites, and just had Cypher controlling mid map, which was really, really key throughout the whole map. So for me, it would have to be Cypher. Plain simple.
Just wanted to make sure you hadn't changed since last time, so that's fine. Fully agree with you on that one. Now, so where I was leading with this is that kind of Lime playing in this Killjoy points makes it very interesting, considering Peril can be one of those sort of mid control maps of where you have to kind of push down mid and generate a bit of space and sort of see how you kind of feel from that ways. Whereas the Lime on Killjoy uses a utility very, very smartly. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up Valo Plant and I'm going to describe to you on how it's done, because the clip that I've got for this is actually the time it doesn't start. So let me just pull this up, create a strategy. If you want to come across and share my screen, we can discuss.
Should be up if your screen is sharing.
It should be.
Is it? Do I even have it? I don't think I have it in. Hold on, give me a second.
That's all good.
Browser source. Add source. Oh yeah, it's on. Oh, there's two of you now. There's 2 of you at the moment. You hit delete that. Why won't this work? There we go. Add source. Add new source. There we go. Add new source. Lovely. Close. Is it the last link in the perfect? Copy settings. Paste. Close. Should be online. There we go. Lovely.
Should be good to go. You can see it. Lovely. It would be a Veggie and Kai podcast without things going slightly wrong here. But anyway, so as you can see, this should be Valoplant. We are playing as Peril, so I've highlighted Link. Link. Not. Well, I'm not saying Link. I've highlighted Lime, who's on the Killjoy player here, just holding down in connector here, and you see the turret that I've placed down here kind of holds for any contact. That anyone that's going to push down this side is going to get hit by that contact. So that watches down here, which is clever because, as I've just said, mid control is a lot here. But you've also got the alarm bot and the nano swarm indoors here. Yes. So if anyone wants to push any of these sort of links, I'm going to say, into anywhere, they're going to get trapped by something, and then the contact and information is given. Whereas Cypher, you're going to have his traps to try and deter anything, but you're not always getting that info. If someone just, let's say, let me find an agent, Astra. Let's say that enemy Astra peeks around here. That turret's going to get its line of sight, peeks. Even if it's just one shot, the information's gathered straight away. If someone pushes through here, the swarm bot and alarm bot is going to go off, and then that's the information gone there. So that's very interesting in how that kind of prevents anyone from Les Petit Boufons pushing down into that side, which kind of just plays down into preventing a lot of mid coming through. However, on round 11, so we've jumped a lot of rounds here, we're going to come into this nice little clip here, and we need to focus not so much on the gameplay that you're going to see on the screen, but if you watch the minimap a little bit more, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So notice directly that the turret is no longer watching down R into Link, it's now watching connector down into B Link. So it's anticipating anyone flanking. So if I bring my little mouse up here, so turret is now here as opposed to where it used to be here.
Yep.
And you have the jet pretty much able to clear down sight here without anyone even thinking about anything and not giving any information, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. As I'm just going to replay here, which is what you see.
Yep.
Lizard's just able to walk down slowly, but not too slowly at the same time. But once again, no contact is made, so the information is not gathered. You've got two agents on. You've got one agent now left on site and two agents pushing up A control from FOKUS trying to get that, but Lizard just absolutely free space here, and now able to push into connector and spots the turret, but the turret is not able to identify that as the peak is kind of too fast, so you'll notice it doesn't flash to say it's gone off, so pulls back. However, watch the Astra communication here with each other. You see the sort of dots getting sparked down, but unfortunately peaks start to come through, and there you go. This is the point I want to really focus down on. You see the Astra smoke not smoking off the turret here like that, because that would sort of identify that someone is there potentially. However, it smokes off just before it, which creates a wall. Basically, and now allows Lizard to walk down and get into a really despicable position just before this, obviously, but potentially getting into spawn with nobody having that information that they're there. So if Purple doesn't push up here with Astra and pushes, and that lets Lizard get into spawn, this could be a completely different round. So I just wanted to highlight the change in play that could have happened just all because of this one turret position. If this turret is back into here, this play never happens. Thankfully for FOKUS, Purple gets I don't know if it's a read or if it's just decent timing from them. That's obviously down to them, but I would say this is a decent timing from them. Purple gets the kill on Lizard and prevents a potentially very dangerous sort of fight that could have happened, because the Astra connection and everything just played through there would have potentially been very, very well played through for Les Petit Boufons, and would have been one of the first times that they've actually had a decent sort of strategy coming into this. You might be asking me, Veggie, what's happened in all the other rounds? We can't just start in round 11. However, it really just has been pure, really good gameplay from each side, and it's been very close going into it. Nobody's really snapped anything going through it. There's not been a decisive side on this defense, I would say. And FOKUS do go in 8-4 at half time and looking strong to get the first map needed. and only needing five rounds here. However, Les Petit Boufons start to pull out a great pistol round, and Luzza has one bullet to prevent the whole of a B push. Gets one kill on a Sova on B, and then that pushes the rest back onto A site where Link's able to clean up and go in a 3k. Now the full buy comes up here for FOKUS, and Les Petit Boufons decide to start playing this map slightly different. So you'll notice here we are slightly into the round already on my screen.
Yep.
And 2 players have died down in B here. I don't like this has been yellow, but I'm going to keep it. So 2 players for Les Petit Boufons have already died down in Link, so they've got their X's here. Now, what's going to happen is every round, well, I say every round, it's been a couple rounds previous to this that the spike holder for FOKUS has been the first person to enter site, and that has always left them in a situation where spike's been down, and then it's been a fight for spike control rather than site control or like making space. So they've had to test that. Now this time FOKUS seem to have made a little bit of a change and actually left the spike holder at the back, which you see Astra just here holding the spike while the rest of the team clear down onto B through mid, and then you've got Lime holding back from A, preparing to wrap around. So let's play the clip and see what happens. So Astra starts to make way, and Lime is preparing to potentially peek around the corner, and Lime does pick up Russ, which brings us into a 2 versus 5 situation. Vong and Luzza, a very difficult situation. Spike is unknown to where it could be for them two.
Yep.
But look at Vong's situation. Look where Vong is stood.
Slipped past.
Compared to Kibsit. Yeah, fully slipped past and ready to try and take this site control. And finds Astra, and thankfully gets the spike for them in this situation, but it's still a 4 versus 2. Luzza gets an incredible shot with the op and then backs back slightly as the rest of the team have to kind of wrap back. But the smart play from this is that they both play together. So instead of Luzza staying down in sort of here with an op angle here, realizes that's probably not the play, because if they get shot and killed, which happens when you get shot, there's no trade, there's no ability, and then it's a 1 versus, well, it's now a 1 versus 3 for Vong if that happens to be. But that's not what happens. But as you can also see, Purple's left alone down in Link, and Lime and your boy Lewis are both coming from sort of spawn side. The Prowler identifies at least one spot, and everything's down to play here, and this is when it comes in clutch. Vong holds tightly, and once again the trade position and the sort of intelligence to not hold that individual angle down by B comes huge here. As Vong gets one and Luzza instantly gets the other, bringing us into a 2 versus 1 situation. Once again, if Luzza had chose to stand down B, potentially gets a kill on Purple, but leaves Vong in a bad situation where it could be a 2 versus 1, and that's not good.
No, yeah, 100%.
And then basically that one part alone turns that round around for them. They get a round that they should never have and end up winning that, just purely because they've managed to play that slightly attacking.
Do you think that's a disadvantage of Killjoy there, in the sense that if you had the Cypher, you could watch all 3 lanes of the flank? Because the Killjoy was watching a flank, got a kill, in their head probably thought, I've got rid of the flank possibility, but then obviously there's 2 of them going on separate lanes, and one sits past. So do you think that was up to the agent's choice?
That's not a bad. That's a decent question, okay. So like, you mean like they could put down the tripwires down maybe both sides of mid, or like one down at the top of B?
Yeah, and it says like, you put one down on top of B, or you put them down mid, and then you just stay on one of them, so you can take advantage of it, and then be 100% sure that one isn't slipping past like they did just in that round.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a possibility. You could have, if your Cypher's holding down, so if you want to come back, I don't know if you're still on my screen.
Yeah, 100%.
But so if we have Cypher here holding, let's just say Cypher here because this is close to where Lime was. But yeah, if you had your tripwires like here, and I mean you could then potentially play some like here.
Yeah.
That holds down both flanks, whereas your Killjoy, you're right, can only really. I mean, you could put your turret down.
Box.
But the problem with Turret and her bot at the same time is that you have to be in that radiance, right?
Yeah.
So if she's lurking down here, potentially waiting for any aggression to come up through A. So if anyone wants to push up here into A, her turret up here is offline, null and void. So yeah, I mean, it's a good point to raise, and I think Cypher probably does a better job of being that lurker and sort of safe haven from that side of things. But at the same time, I think it's just almost unfortunate that two of them push up mid and Lime's unable to identify that, which kind of comes into that point. But let's come off of this just now, because that's... Yeah, I mean, you're right. Cypher does a much better job in that situation, but I think it is just unfortunate.
Yeah, it's Valorant timing, and sometimes things slip past and things just don't make... Like, the play you're showing us before with Jet pushing through, if Valorant timing had happened, if he had pushed through down into water by the time KO had gone around the corner, then that round could have gone in a completely different way. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a really good game. What other clips do you have for us?
So I've actually realised I've just skipped a little bit that I didn't do. So I'm going to go back. Where we was the full buy. So let's pretend that last segment didn't happen. Well, let's not pretend that segment happened, but that segment's ahead of where we are just now. But as you see on my screen just now, it's 8-6. FOKUS have lost the first two rounds of their attack, and Les Petit Boufons have won both. So FOKUS now coming into this with a full buy. However, Les Petit Boufons have a really good strategy to kind of play around this. So as you can see, you currently have a pretty much a default coming in here with two agents looking towards A, two agents looking towards B, and then Lime kind of playing in the middle up here for now. And then on the defense side, you see three of them sitting in mid. So you've got Liza, Russ, and Vong both playing. Both playing mid site, which kind of comes in clutch here as you only leave one agent on both sides. So as we start to play into the clip, once again, we're not overly watching what's going on, but are at the same time. So the sort of stage slow goes up onto B to deny anyone kind of pushing into there fast. But at the same time this is happening, Astra has smoked sort of top mid, deep mid, so that nobody can peek into there. KO flashes all the way from sort of his link control over into connector, and Liza dashes through and takes out Lime.
Lovely play.
All of this individually is good play, but when you add all of it up at once, so the fast push on its own is smart because you're probably taking it unexpected and they don't anticipate a fast push, especially when, as FOKUS, they have the better weaponry, so they're able to push into that situation a lot stronger. But the flash then combines with the dash, means it's a free kill. Granted, there could be more players in this situation, but they're going to be flashed because they're not going to be anticipating that straight away. And then on top of that, you add the smoke on top of sort of deep mid control, means that it can't be traded. So if there is only one player here, that is fine. It's a free kill, and then you'll see Lizig starts getting shot at, but then re-smokes it just to pretty much put themselves back into safety, and that's exactly what happens. And then they just start playing it down into round. So it's really good coordination there from...
Incredible coordination,
from Les Petit Boufons, just to get onto that and put just down some more early aggression that kind of continues throughout the rest of the map for Les Petit Boufons to just highlight sort of, I'm going to say fear, but fear is not the right term at all. But it puts that situation into FOKUS's head that something could be coming around the corner.
Paranoia.
And every time yeah, exactly. Paranoia with no omen is what we'll call it. It just starts putting them down, and they have to rethink everything that they want to do. So that basically buys them that round, because they do end up winning that round, and then it forces FOKUS back onto another eco, which an eco against a full buy, it's not really going to happen. Or obviously it can happen, but it shouldn't happen, and then that makes it 8-all for Les Petit Boufons. And then we go into that clip that we would have just seen. So the FOKUS attack was looking weak. As I said, the consistent deaths with Spike sort of walking onto site first leads into that change where they do switch it up, but then get caught at the back, unfortunately.
So was it Jet that was carrying the bomb then?
No, most of the time it wasn't Jet carrying the bomb. It was someone like your boy Lewis, who has the spike, and they were not necessarily even walking onto site first, but they were the gang leader, as to say. So they were the ones that walking through, clearing the angles, and it just meant that when the spike gets put down, I mean, you're kind of lost in no man's land if you're sitting in the middle of B mid, so B link, sorry, and the spike's down in the middle. It's a very difficult situation to get back from. And
where was Yugi playing? Was he playing back with the operator then? Because if that's the case, that alignment of characters or agents for him. Cause...
Yeah. I think it's more that they were playing a very default situations.
Okay.
So there was a situation on. If you want to bring my screen up, I can.
Got it.
Perfect. So let me find Sova. So Sova's here. So there was a situation where you had. I think there was maybe. I can't remember exactly how many were alive, but let's say there was 3 left alive. They were all in mid here, and your boy Lewis is the spike holder. He starts pushing down here, whether it's just looking for information or not, whereas these two are kind of pushing down into this situation, and your boy Lewis gets here and dies with spike. So kind of really separating himself from the team, but it's in an info gathering situation, and just it's almost unfortunate. The rest of the rounds was just like ganging up, and then your boy Lewis just happened to be like the first one to walk through and then die, but then it was just a difficult situation for them, really. But it is what it is. They learned from it, and they started to make those improvements, but unfortunately the improvements got caught out by the heavy rotation and lurks from the opposite team.
So would you say that was the winning condition, that the fact that we had her opposition just completely blowing them out with these flanks and with the kind of aggressive pushes on defense?
Most definitely, yeah. The reason that I've not overly got that many clips from FOKUS's defense is it was very much trading each other out, and I mean the casters used the word messy quite a few times, and it was at times slightly messy from both sides, but there wasn't any like full blown heavy strategies that I picked up on, at least, that I thought was a winning condition to FOKUS's defense. I felt it was more blow for blow and trade for trade, whereas when it comes to Les Petit Boufons' defense, there was a lot more to it, of these early aggressions from pretty much every site that made FOKUS have to think about it. Their ability to then counter with lurks through the back and sort of flanks coming through, which was able to kind of get them down. But yeah, 100% that was the winning condition. Les Petit Boufons played perfectly into that and were able to really do that. So if I continue on with what I've got, so as I said, the early aggression halts FOKUS as they were wary of every round, an early push from both sides, and it burns a lot of time. So it also meant that when they got on site at times, the time was so small that they either weren't able to get the plant down, or by the time that they clear the site, the time is just so small down for them that it's going to be impossible. So they don't have enough time to either clear site and plant, so they try and clear site and they get killed, or they try and plant and the util from Les Petit Boufons is able to stop them planting, and then they get the kills. Which it is what it is. So it kind of takes us into this situation where it's eight rounds for FOKUS and 11 for Petit Boufons. So after having an 8-4 half, FOKUS are yet to pick up an attacking round, which is not ideal when you were looking. I would have thought favourites coming in at 8-4. All you need is 5 rounds to win, and yet here we are. My maths is awful here, but that's 7 rounds in a row for Les Petit Boufons. You want to be picking stuff up here, so FOKUS now kind of have to find something, and what they do is just commit ults. So they have 3 ults available. The first one that gets used is the gravity wall. So my screen here showing gravity wall is down, and they push on to site with that. Once they start planting the spike, they put down the Killjoy lockdown just to further create space, which kind of just almost cements a round. Like if you're committing both of these ults into a round, you should be winning it. That's just how it's going to be. You have to win both of these rounds if you're doing that. Your boy Lewis does get the plant down, and then they pretty much just all back off because they don't want to commit to anything. And you see Cray starts to make a play here, so starting to just push into here. So you've got the spike here, wall down. So he has to do something to try and deny this.
Yep.
This lockdown going off if he wants to get any space back. So it does push through, and Yugi gets 1. So Cray's down, it's down into 4 versus 5. Wall's still up, and the Killjoy ult's just about to activate. Now, for some reason, Vong still stood here, literally seconds away from the lockdown being activated. I think the idea there is to try and catch someone off guard, and even if they get one free kill, is most of the time you're not going to have a defender stood in the lockdown waiting for it to go down. You try and clear off a site and not get caught into it, otherwise it is a free kill. But if you do stand here in this situation, there's a chance that you get a free kill, or at least 2 free kills potentially, if they're unaware that you're sat there. However, now you see the Vandal is given to Yugi, which is not great.
Not ideal. Not ideal at all.
Not ideal. You don't want to be given these huge upgrades to players that can certainly do it anything possible. Peeks in to Luzza and Russ. Listen, Luzza open, Russ obviously with the Vandal, gets 2 huge kills. Now that doesn't happen if the Vandal isn't acquired.
Yeah,
Let's just be honest. It doesn't. You're not doing that with the Judge unless you're dashing full send into someone. So it just doesn't happen. And then the site's basically clear. It's a 1 versus 4, and Yugi picks up the ace. That's why I'm showing this one. They do finally get around. Yugi hard carrying in that situation to pick up an ace, but the 2 ults involved kind of pull through onto that one to allow the ace to be gathered, but certainly Yugi doing a lot of work here.
Yeah, I was going to say that the Killjoy ult looked really premature, because normally you kind of like go back into main and you just pop it down in that little corner just so you can deny plant. But obviously if the play there was to activate Yugi and allow him to push deep. A lot of the times I've seen in this league that they've, down the back lane, they've when they've only pushed 1 person, they've kind of failed a lot of the time. When they push 2 people, it's more successful. But obviously Yugi is a player that can just activate and be incredible. Obviously it's allowing him to push, and then with the Killjoy, with the Sage, with all the post-plant utility they have, just allow him to delay the push even more. It's kind of a really nice strategy from them, I believe.
Yeah, it was good play. It is the first of the rounds that they actually managed to pick up, which is nice. You always want to see the team pick up a round as they come on. So round after this FOKUS seem to kind of have the aggression, as Les Petit Boufons seem to hunt like a tiger when they see blood, and they kind of focus down onto the wrong person. See what I've done there?
Classic.
So as you can kind of see here, Spike's down in mid here just now, and you have Yugi holding down A. We're already 1 player down, unfortunately, but it is we're starting kind of halfway in. So Spike very much in safe hands in mid with nobody can contest in that just now. Yugi's trying to hold down this angle in case anybody pushes, which Cray feels like pushing. The flash combo comes out and does catch Yugi off, but they back off. But notice that the aggression keeps coming up from Cray here, obviously feeling themselves a little bit, thinking that they can do this, but at the same time, nobody is watching this mid. Not a single person. I'm spiraling out of control here, but anyway, nobody's watching this. Whereas if you flash back to FOKUS, yeah, exactly. If you flash back to FOKUS, they would have had the turret, they would have had the nano swarm, they would have had everything to kind of give information here, but they don't have that, so they need to. Les Petit Boufons definitely had to be careful of this, and they're just not. So Cray keeps feeling themselves and does peak and doesn't hit the shots, and that just creates sort of do start to kind of flank back in, but that's just as the aggression's coming through from FOKUS, and FOKUS is able to pick up Russ, who's left on site pretty much alone because Cray wanted to chase that operator kill, and you just don't peek into an op like that. Fair enough, they escape with their life, but it almost doesn't seem worth it as the kill comes in on Russ. It lets him walk in and get the plant, and then your boy Lewis is able to get Cray as the sort of ash of smoke falls off as well. Keeps it, takes off Vong, and it's just a really successful take. So the reason I said this was Les Petit Boufons focusing on the wrong member of FOKUS was that it really is. There's a lot of focus put down onto Yugi on sort of top here.
Yep.
But nobody focusing on the right area, which allows a back-to-back round win for FOKUS, making this a little bit nicer and a little bit tighter as well, which makes it more interesting. And obviously time runs out and they win this round, I should say. I've not got the end of it, but they do win the round, and it gets them back into the game. Petit Boufons call a timeout and win the game, basically. That's the end of it. They start to play into their advantages again, and they clutch up in the situations that they clutch up. It does come down to 1 versus 1 in the last round, but Les Petit Boufons are able to get that shot as Lime just little drops off of the head of Russ, and it does take it to 13-9 for Les Petit Boufons. So that's my breakdown of Peril. FOKUS went on to win Breeze 13-7, but then Ascent was the last map where Les Petit Boufons won 13-7, and she's taken another victory in this Valorant League.
Incredible. With the last bit, when I always look at pushes down A main, and if you got a really aggressive push from the team, I always think if you go back to Ascent or something like that, then what I like to see happen is like you get two people, you get a buddy system, you push down one lane and try and take space in another lane if you've got a massive push. Because when Yugi was by himself, if you push with KO there, with the Astro KO, you pop flash, get the flash. I mean, the dash for Jet is incredible, but down the Pearl A site lane, it's not going to go far enough. There's not enough nooks and crannies for him to hide. He's going to get killed, especially if you use a knife. So that KO at Astro could have been really useful if you just pushed together. And then, of course, as you showed, they got picked one by one. KO's left alone on the site, and then your boy Lewis just turned around, shot Astra in the head, and was like, now we've got complete site control. We can push into seats if you want to, not going to. And Yugi's still alive. Whereas if they had taken A main control, they just put even more doubt into defenders, and they can even do a flank around mid, get art again, allow their teammates to have a retake in a 5v3 situation, a 5v4 situation, rather than a 3v5 situation. Yeah,
no, I feel agree. They could have, like you said, instead of leaving one standing there on site, if they just continued to push up together, they potentially have a better chance of not only taking out Yugi, but taking out the rest of the round, and absolutely highlighted that spot on,
Yeah, and I mean, as you said, the pushes, Gragwood pushes and Powell worked a treat. So we would like to see that a bit more, maybe. But incredible game overall. So yeah, APEKS versus HSDIRR. So if I just quickly share my screen with you, so you can see what I'm talking about, as well as everyone else. So we have two teams of incredible talent. We've got on one team, we've got ex-Fnatic players, we've got Enzo, Mystic, and Magnum, incredible players, and then Lear is an absolutely incredible jet. Him and Kaiko have been phenomenal throughout this whole thing. Kaiko is kind of like the best, known as the best jet in this league, so obviously APEKS is sort of kind of expected to win. But the first round on Icebox, which is the map we'll be covering here, APEKS, they say we're going to buy out all of the kind of traditional, like, known metas, and even if it's defense, aggro push, we're going to 4-man stack, as you can see here. They're on the typical Viper wall, which is really just basic and just it's really strong at the moment. And of course, the tag is on this really nice Viper wall along there. They're going to just put this Viper wall down no matter what, because it's just conditions the defenders to think there could always be a push, and then it doesn't give away information when they do actually push that they've got the Viper wall there. So that's why, for those who don't know, we're going to be putting that Viper wall down every single round, apart from one run, I believe. But here, if we just go straight in, we have a really nice fast push. Silver Duck here gets destroyed. Lovely teamwork here, and I want to point out APEK's positioning. Not APEKS, a Mystic's positioning right here. So you've got Sage and Jet here. So Jet's taking his early position. You can see Mystic right here as well. This positioning right here is he's not looking down. You've got Sova to watch over top of him. And then you've got Sage there to heal, slow down, peek as well, peek off contact. Sort of holding here, just to even further guard Mystic and allow him to pop off. And this is going to come into fruition in just a second here. Oh, which probably just there we go. Yeah, Mystic just popping heads in left, right, centre. And I mean, now we can just do a whole push. Mystic ends up getting a 4K here. So I mean, it was an absolute domination from the side of APEKS. They were just incredible. I mean, it just the first round. Just really putting out a literally just a statement right there. I mean, they've got complete control with Killjoy utility as well. Another point I want to put out is that the fact that these teams have the exact same compositions. So it won't be a matchup. This matchup won't be based on whether or not these teams have better compositions or not, because it's this exact same. So it's going to be whichever team has the best strategies, whichever team pops off better. So it's really nice crossfire. I just want to highlight that first of all. And then the defensive setup on Viper Wall and A is just really strong. I mean, Veggie, you know, it's just really nice strong. You can just delay the push. You can just use your utility to slow it down. You got the orb, you got the Molotovs. Viper's very, very strong on icebox. So the main focus for Killjoy throughout the whole matchup for APEKS is a lot of mid control. You don't see the Sage will put down tube that often, mainly because they use it to delay, which I find very, very interesting and completely against what kind of conventional, where you kind of just put it down tube, you leave it, you've taken off that lane, you don't have to worry about kitchen anymore. Whereas they've decided, right, we're going to put Killjoy turrets in kitchen. They change up the position every now and again. I'll highlight a couple of times when that happens. And then I'll just think I've got another clip in a second. Oh, title, there we go.
Title.
Yeah. Title. Right, here we go. Let me just go all the way back. Perfect. So yep, exact same setup really. We've still got the Viper Wall across here, Viper Wall there. Killjoy utility is watching kitchen. Sage is going to watch underneath here, and then Killjoy is going to put his bot here as well. So they complete mid control. And then Saber's obviously just going to start down here, get information, and yeah. So you can see a nice little push coming out from the side of, this is just going to come nice little fruition. But yeah, it's just really nice to see that these APEKS is absolutely dominant 4-1 at the moment. Viper's putting a bit of early damage in. And then instantly with the jump peak, Killjoy is able to rotate because they've got all this utility here. Notice that Sage goes and oh my god, what the? Why is there a title there? I don't know why that happened, but it did. So notice that Sage goes instead. If on his side, don't really know why this has jumped to a different clip. Give me a second. Why has that happened then? Right,
well, you're fixing it. I find it interesting that you spoke about Sage not walling down that sort of tube link. I like that. Keeping it for further in the round and potentially like if you know someone's coming fast on A, even just walling off like A main or whatever, just makes it a lot more tangible. And I think redefining metas is something that is quite big for a lot of teams. Like you see people talking about Split at the moment with just how much and how boring just walling mid is every round, and nobody likes to just watch the same Valorant clip over and over and over again. It's just not something anybody wants. To see APEKS come in and use that to their advantage and start to play slightly different is something that we are most definitely here for, because we always enjoy watching new strats and thoughts. Obviously it will have been done before and definitely has been done on high levels, but when it comes to a lot of these competitions, teams can just resort to doing the same mundane, boring task over and over again. So nice to see that straight off the bat.
And speaking of the wall, I've got a lovely clip here. I don't know what happened to the other one, but here we have a little retake, and this wall right here, you guys can all see. You've got the plant up top. Let me just get my little thing here, up top here. Oh, why are you working over here? Work. No? Why the fuck are you... What the...
Technical errors, we love them. We're here for them.
Why? I can't seem to draw. But you can see my cursor. Why the...
I can't see your screen either, but...
yes, hold on, give me a second.
It's so good. These things are bound to happen.
My Valorant is just not... my PC is just not playing the game at the moment. Let me just switch to this scene here. Had a lovely clip, and it's just gone now. Lovely. I'd love to see it. Okay, pause that.
You're just going to have to act it out for us, just reenact it in person. I want to see you play all 10 agents on the board, well, 5 agents, because the same comp.
Just have like 5 different bloody screens up and just... Why is this? This is just absolutely...
your camera's gone.
Nope,
oh, wow.
Yep, that's going now. Everything's just going poorly. Apparently, I just did something to my camera. What did I just do? What the fuck?
Your camera's back to normal, I think.
Am I?
At least it looks like normal on mine. Here we go.
Hopefully. I don't really know what. Sorry, guys. This should have been working, but it just didn't. Great.
It's a minor breakdown. It's fine.
Come on. Alright, I'll just do it without drawing because for some reason it's not working. But okay, so replay here. Apex Magnum gets 2 kills. I'll quickly share my screen review so you can kind of see what I'm going on about, rather than me just. There we go. So you got this wall right here. So the plant is up top in heaven on icebox, and the retake has been phenomenal. One thing I want to say about Apex, their retakes are on point in this match. They do not overpeak. They wait for their teammates. They wait for everything that needs to be waited for. They wait for the soda dart. They wait for information. They never push when they don't have information to a certain area. They always wait for the soda dart, get information, then push on the back of that. So really nice team play, and just it's just professionalism coming from them. They deserve to be in challenges. They act like a challengers team. And yeah, as you see, the wall here, they can't do anything. He tries to shoot it, but there's absolutely nothing to do, and Kaiko just cleans up there. Incredible play from him. But yeah, and then as I said, they've got the rotation coming out here.
That's a key highlight onto, once again, the wall not being down into tube there, right? You highlighted that a second ago, and yet here we are, the wall coming in clutch. Now, if you just default teamed wall down mid, that wall's gone, and then, I mean, the round's probably not going to go that much different, but it does leave a situation where the Apex have a clean defuse, just purely because the wall blocks any sight of vision from flank before. So I like that. It's nice, nice, smart play there from, who was it, Shadow, that's playing on Sage. Yeah, I like that. Good, clever plays.
And as I was pointing out again here, if you can spot what happens here. So they've got the Viper ult on the side of HSDIRR, and Apex. Smart plays from them. Again, shout out to Casters for they just completely noticed this. They said that the team, Apex, brought up shorties because they knew the Viper ult was going to be popped this round. So they thought, how do we combat that? What utility can we use? Oh, we'll just buy shorties. We'll just run straight in. Viper. This is the importance of the Viper wall and B here for the attacker side. You can put this Viper wall up, get on site. The Sage wall comes down. It gives you some safety. I mean, the Molotov gets bounced off here, and the wall gets broken. A lot of utility invested trying to delay the bomb plant. Apex very good at it normally to delay the bomb plant, but unfortunately not able to do this round. Viper ultimate gets pushed out. Killjoy still looking mid. If you guys can see that. I mean, this is just wary of flanks. You still got there Killjoy mid as well. Just really wary of where people could be. I just want to point out nothing major there. Just kind of standard gameplay at the moment. Kaiko just waiting for an overpeak, not really doing much, but now he's pulling out a shotgun, and you can see he's got his little shorty there. Magnum's going to pop in, get a kill on Vicious here, I believe, with a shorty, and they are just running through. They literally just hit W key, we've got shorties, we're going to kill you, close range here. Viper's playing way too close. Obviously you have to in your Viper's pit. I just want to point out that there's just no support for this Viper now. I don't agree with the Sova being in the ultimate. I don't know how you feel about that, Reggie.
I can't see your screen.
Why am I being an idiot? Can you see? Yep. Okay. So, Viper ultimate goes down. You got the Solar Dart there. Try to delay it a bit as much as possible. Unfortunately not able to do so. And then you can see the rotation comes in, and Sova just immediately goes straight into the ultimate. I'm not a massive fan of this. I would rather the Jet use an ultimate. They swap positions, Jet and Sova swap positions. So I think Sova's better with Sova Dart, Shock Darts playing post plant and allowing his teammates to get kills rather than being the front line and trying to get kills themselves. And the Sage is just looking back. What don't we get? I mean, Killjoy's there. It's just sort of saying back here. I mean, you are sort of playing there, and they are just playing right at the back of the ultimate. Not a massive fan of where they are playing, because as you saw, if they're clearing, if the defenders are clearing all of this, where's Viper playing? There's only one position they can play, undercover behind the box. We've got shorties, we're gonna rush him. Freeland gets 1 kill on Magnum, but that's not even.
I suppose especially with the, I'm going to call it the nerf that came to Viper a couple patches ago when we seen the the countdown timers change on Viper's utility. So now that Viper can't sit outside their sort of ult for too long, it does make retaking a Viper ult a little bit easier, in the sense that, yes, when you still go into your ultimate, you're going to take a lot of damage and be sort of weakened down. But Viper can't really be playing outside that ult anymore. So before, you could clear the whole ultimate and she not be there. Whereas now, you know for a fact she's in that ultimate hiding somewhere, because she can only be out it for, like, what is it, 5 seconds, and then has to go in and stand there for about an hour. So it's, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely one of those. So no, absolutely, APEKS playing that right with the shorty. But
I'm confused as to why the Viper isn't pushing up, especially if you've got the ultimate, you've got the advantage. Play up close, play. I think playing underneath here would have been even better if you have Sova and Sage kind of watching top, of container. It would just be nice to see them a bit more aggressive, rather than just playing really off and just allowing APEKS to push. Because I mean, they bought shorties, they are just going to push you. They got this really smart play, great call from the IGL. I think Mystic IGLs for this team, I believe. So yeah, they just push through, get the kills. I mean, Kiko here, he's just incredible. There's this shot from him, he gets a kill, pushes, gets a kill. Freding does get killed into Enzo, but you are in a 3v versus 1 right now. Not much you can do, especially with the Sage Wall up. Unless you got like a nice lineup that completely nullifies the Sage Wall, you're not going to win this. And Freding here kind of realizes it. He's going to get a push. Shadow's defusing already. Lovely shot, but Mystic trades that out. Really, really nice trade from him. And 7-1 on the board for APEKS there.
Yep, nice.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Again, the Sage Wall not being put down early allows them to just block off the shots, and it's just really, really nice to see they aren't just doing the same old thing. And the Shadow's Sage Wall's utility has been spot on. Throughout the whole game, I mean, APEKS has been incredible out using their utility properly.
And would you say that it's the Killjoy that's allowing that Sage Wall to not be used straight away? Like, if it was someone, if they didn't pick up another sort of Sentinel like Killjoy, if they went with, like, I don't know, another Initiator or one of these double duelists that you see ran down and ranked quite a lot, that wall probably becomes more crucial to be down in mid, would you say? But because you've got Killjoy also kind of holding mid, it allows for the turret to be potentially watching down that situation, alarm bots in those situations. Is that something that you think?
Yeah, 100%. I think just because you have double sentinels, you are allowed to save that Sage Wall really, really effectively. Again, saying this, I've got this clip up perfect timing because they've completely switched it up. They started when you use Sage Wall. I think my screen is being shared with you. If you can see,
you can see.
You can see this. So they've decided to switch up. We're going to complete opposite. So I think like the strange round decided we're going to take HSDIRR by storm. We're going to completely switch up, catch by surprise. So you can see, guys, here we got this Jet just loving life with the operator. Kaiko just watching the entirety of mid. This way you just don't have to put any Killjoy utility, and of course they just put it all onto A there, and the push coming in from HSDIRR, just playing into the hands of APEKS. Brilliant read here. Just playing the life, get information. Bit of a misplay. You can see this players have already pushed up. I'm not sure whether that's a bit of poor util. Yeah, I've been saying APEKS, great util usage. Just the placement, because this is a bit scary if you're there. Get spotted out. Enzo gets a kill because Enzo does these Enzo things. Yeah. Nice Sage Wall here, but I want to highlight here. So Shadow here, luckily gets a kill here. I'm not entirely happy with the push. But he does get a kill, drops off, heals himself. But then this is something I've been saying about the utility usage and playing really smartly. So they're going to wait for this Sova just to pop his dart, and they're going to push on the back of that. And they also got to wait for all their teammates to come in. So Shadow, everyone's just hiding. They're not overly pushing. They're not pushing this angle here, giving them sight to Generator. They're just hiding. They're holding, and are waiting for their teammates, biding their time. Dart comes out, information is gathered. Pings, Molotov utility weakens this Sage. He has no chance of staying alive whatsoever. Gets head taken clean off here. The shot does come out from the side of HSDIRR, but a bit too late. And I would like to see that played for the retake rather than just trying to get a bit of poke damage, because you do have the bomb plant down now. So bit of a misplay from them. And then if we go in, they are that Sova ping. We just see it a couple of seconds. I believe that was a drone. That got the ping there.
Yeah, it must be.
Must be the drone. Yeah. So Sova's there. He's going to get ping. So his crosshairs going for behind this area here, not behind. And then look, the ping comes out. Oh no, it is the dart. And he's just going to get going to get clean. And look at they're not even on the bomb. They're just looking because they know they're playing offsite with the Viper and the Sova. The post plant, they have to push, otherwise they have no chance whatsoever. And I mean the kills come back and forth. Mystic, Shadow, and then I mean Magnum clears up. Really nice trades, and 4 players still alive on the side of APEKS. Incredible retake from them.
Yep. Very well, and it gets another online, an ult online for Magnum as well, who's I think is going to take the spike here. So 3 ults going into the next round is pretty big.
Yeah, 3 ults going into the next round, and they're 9-1 up now. Economy really strong for them. 4 people still alive. Their retakes were just way too strong for the side of HSDIRR. And as we go into the next clip, I have, I believe this is just. Let me just double check what happens here. Look at my notes. It's a slow methodical retakes here. Just really nice to see. They got the information. The drone comes out. The plant is coming down here. APEKS Magnum gets a kill. Pushes down here because on the back of the Sova utility. Let's quickly rewind this. So yes, APEKS Shadow just kind of holding. They're not pushing anything. They got the Killjoy utility here to stop this Viper from pushing. Viper is completely useless right now. I don't really know why is that. Just for a bit of just a bit of fun. Wanted to go to the kitchen. I don't know.
Feel hungry.
Yeah, they're hungry. A little midnight snack or something. But you can see they're just not bothered by the Viper at all. They're like, we're just going to focus on this retake. We've got information. Shadow gets a kill. Lovely to see. I mean, they're playing so well together. And look, so Jet's up here by himself. Oh no, not by himself, with Enzo, I believe. So Jones comes out. They're not peeking it without information. Just really nice heads up display. Gets the information, gets the noise, pings the Killjoy, pushes him off that angle, and now look, you can just push it in. No one's watching because they forced this Killjoy out. They can see the Sova's there. He's going to get a kill on him. And 2 quick kills come in. Really nice to see. Fadan gets a kill into Magnum, a little trade out, but I mean, he just forced off his angle, so he had basically little impact here. And then Kaiko just goes straight in. I believe gets another kill as well. Nope, it was Enzo. And they've got complete side control here now. And Bomb, I mean, not even down, not even planted. Rez comes out. Link's doing all he can. The flank just really not paying dividends right now. 3 players looking at them, and it's going to be the half for APEKS here, 11-1. So yeah, just absolute domination from them, really.
Yeah, it's not what you want HSDR coming into this. You want to be, I think 11-1 is not a good scoreline regardless of the situation. But you want to give yourself as much of a chance, and that's really not going to do that. So if they want to turn that around, they're going to have a much stronger second half in there.
They did this they still got the same Viper balls on the attack as well, from the side of APEKS, and defense as well. HSDR just across here. They did get a couple of rounds. I think I have, and then I mean, there's a really early Sage rule here. I'm not entirely sure about why that is. They just put their util out too early for me, from the side of HSDR. But this take from the side of APEKS is just so clean. It's just really nice to see. Just shooting through. I'm not sure why Fedham was so close to the Viper wall, because you're going to get shot through. There's no cover whatsoever. He does put a bit of damage into the side of APEKS, but not enough to do anything like really big. Again, spray down, and Kaiko with this is a disadvantage of the Vandal. Your spray can be seen, and Kaiko just takes the head off Fedham and be like, easy free kill. and now they're 2 men up. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure from Killjoy. A bit of a misplay, I believe. Lear doing Lear things. He was kind of shut down throughout the whole map. Wasn't allowed to play the way he wanted to play. And APEKS was doing really, really well to kind of counteract him and nullify him. He's a standout player here. And the attacker Killjoy comes out to delay the push even more. But you can see Lear here just really not caring. But his teammates, there's not a lot of support from them because they've used util so early. Does get 1 kill, but Mystic with a lovely martial shot there. Kaiko there just doing peeking out. They're hoping to get a kill. Yeah, a bit of a misplay with the Killjoy ultimate. You saw in your game there, Veggie, that we had one player who just caught in for no apparent reason, the fade on Pearl. And we see a Viper do the exact same. I'm not sure what it is with this league, but apparently it's a thing. Apparently,
you need to come in and teach them what it does.
Yeah. Guys, this is a Killjoy. It's stuns you can't move, or you're gonna get completely killed. I don't know why.
I know she's a new agent, right?
Yeah.
No, maybe. Yeah.
No, she was. Yeah, she was.
She's very old. Yeah.
Very old. But this allows the push from Mystic here. Not Mystic, Magnum. Sorry. So if we see, he just pushes straight. You get information that one is detained. So he's just going to push and try, because he's only got Chef. So this is a save round for APEKS. So there's literally no loss. He's got no usual down. He's got nothing really for him to use. So he's going to say, right, I'm just going to go straight in, try and do some damage, try and delay the push if possible. And he does that incredibly well. Picks up a free Vandal, tucks in. They didn't see where he was because this Viper was detained. And, I mean, walks straight past. Gets the head taken clean off. And then this allows Viper and Jet to peek as well, because you know that this Sova is going to be pushing. I'm not sure why Mystic's crosshairs there, because if the Sova does peek from there, his teammate's going to take care of him. But if he peeks from the right hand side here, he's going to get killed, and there's no possible trade off. So prefers crosshair to the right and trusts his teammates a bit more. But I mean, Kaiko just gets a kill, so it doesn't really matter. And that'll be 12 rounds on the board for APEKS, and they go on to win the map. 13-4, just really incredible play. And then Magnum overall was the MVP because he had such great impact for the whole series. I mean, yeah, incredible play from him.
Nice, love that.
Yeah, and then the ACS it was just Magnum had 288 ACS. The lowest on the team of APEKS was 165, which was higher than most majority of the team on HSDIRR. Lynx had the highest ACS, sorry, 191. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a complete. Lear had no impact whatsoever. It was APEKS just knew exactly what. It was their map pick. They just knew exactly what to do. No, it wasn't even their map pick. HSDIRR map pick. Sorry, I'm mistaken there.
Yep, HSDIRR picked it up. Yeah.
And yeah, it's an absolute domination from them. Some key points was the fact that their retakes was so strong. Their utility usage was on point. And I mean, just mistakes coming in from the side of HSDIRR just feeding the pressure.
Yeah, I'm looking at the VLR.gg website just now, and if I set it to just look at the attack side of things, so this is where you're looking for Lear to specialise, being the Jet player, right? This is where, I mean, notoriously, Julius should be better on attack. That's just hands down. It makes more sense for that situation. Yes, they can be better on defense in some situations, but attack is really where you should be specialising. And overall has a rating of 0.33, whereas when you switch it to defense, has a rating of 1.25, which probably tells you a lot. That, I mean, it kind of goes along with the game a little bit, in that the HSDR got into the game slightly better on the defensive side, but also their attack was just so lackluster in the fact that your entry Julius is getting a 0.3 rating, whereas Kiko on attack for APEKS is 1.4, and then 1.2 on 1.2 on attack and then 1.4 on defense. So very similar impacts on both of those ones. That's kind of crazy.
Absolutely,
not gonna lie.
Kiko is for me like. We're going to do a segment later on in the podcast, the episode down the line, where we choose our best things. But I mean, Kiko is just, I think for me, he's just, I absolutely love him. He's incredible to watch. But I think that's all we got for today, guys. Next week we will be doing something that's a different format. We're kind of experimenting. We'll be going over a whole VOD together, me and Veggie. So make sure you pop in for that. Every Thursday we'll be posting a podcast unless something changes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you follow all our Twitters and all our YouTubes and everything. So guys, thank you so much.